Okay, just so everybody remembers, we're going to have in a little bit, I'm going to ring the bell, we're going to start it up. At the bell, we want loads of applause. Everybody. So, momentarily. Welcome to another of our Wednesday yachting lunches live from the St. Francis Yacht Club. We've got the most beautiful view painted on the inside of these windows. It's just remarkable. Looks so realistic and gorgeous out there. Let's see a little bit about future speakers. You want to come by during September, the Big Boat Series, because the world famous yachting photographer Daniel Forrester will be here to talk all about making a living taking pictures of beautiful things for his whole life. In June, you want to stop by. Michael Ellis, the noted naturalist, will be here to talk all about mysteries of the Mojave, once a lake, now the driest desert in North America. Bob Devlin will be here to talk about the days in the 1920s when we had car races along the Marina Boulevard. Carlo Ficino will be here in June also to talk about rowing from Norway to Iceland. Who's done that? I see all the hands went up. Let's see, in May, we'll have Bill Pearson will be by from North Sails 3DI to talk all about their latest sail technology. John Lawrence Bush will be here to talk about the first crossing of the Atlantic by a steamship and the Industrial Revolution he suggests that brought on. Ron Holland, the famous naval architect, will be here to talk about his new book, All the Oceans. And Steve Tashia, chairman of the America's Cup Hall of Fame Selection Committee, will be here to talk all about the America's Cup. In April, John McNeil will be here to talk about the International Yacht Club Council. Bob McLaughlin, our own member and writer, will be here to talk about his new novel, A Legion of Heroes, about the actual capture during World War II of a German submarine 505. And Janice Corvouet will be here to talk about taking her family around the world in a sailboat. And that's a big tale. At the end of March, come on by and listen to Jocelyn Nash. She is only 89 years old. She'll talk about continuously racing since childhood and winning the Mallory Cup and many other trophies. R.C. Keefe will be here to talk about a history of the St. Francis Yacht Club. And next week, Philip Eliasoff of Fairfield University, professor of history, will be out to talk all about the most famous Winslow Homer and the man versus the sea. So we have a great lineup. I also want to take this moment to say thanks to our good friends at Sailing Illustrated for basically helping us completely with the live stream on Facebook Live. It is the case that we're getting between 10 and 50 times more people watching the live stream of our yachting luncheons as we have able to attend inside the room and enjoy the view. So that's a fun thing, and they're basically being archived on the St. Francis Yacht Club website so that other clubs and people all around the world can, one, comment while we're streaming, and two, look at them in their own leisure later on. So thank you so much, Sailing Illustrated. I also want to take this moment to welcome, we look at our forest guest, and today that would probably be who's come from a greater distance than Melbourne, Australia. Okay, seeing no hands up, let's welcome Malcolm Gray of Melbourne, Australia. Malcolm. He's here as the guest of our Commodore, Teresa Bradner, and the Consul General of Australia in San Francisco, Chris Oldfield. So thank you. Welcome, Malcolm. Happy to have you here. a little bit about our speaker today. Born in LA, we didn't get to see him for a little while because he was busy sailing all kinds of sabbats at age 10 in Marina del Rey, hanging out in Playa del Rey. At age 14, he moved up to the Catalina 27. He raced in the Nationals at that tender age out of Coyote Point Yacht Club. Now, we have a member who was once the Commodore of the Coyote Point Yacht Club. Who knows who that was? It was our Commodore, Staff Gunner Bruce Monroe. Good on you, Bruce. Represented ably today by dear wife Lynn Monroe. Welcome, Lynn. At age 14, he started two things, really sailing in earnest and swimming in earnest. So he joined the water polo team and the swimming team in high school, swimming in the 50-yard breast. Now there's an event. And the 100-yard freestyle. These are both sprints that require incredible strength, body, and guts. I didn't say anything about brains. I said guts. Anyway, from 14 to 18, he sailed in another fast creature, lasers, all over Southern California. 18 to 22, he moved up to FJs while sailing at UC Berkeley in his undergraduate years. Then between that time, graduating from there, and his graduate time at school, he went to Micronesia, came back. He windsurfed when he was in Micronesia. When he came back, he went to grad school for architecture at Berkeley from 25 to 27 years. He started sailing on a boat called Insatiable. Many of us remember that boat from a long time ago in Nelson Merrick 41 in Southern California. Good ride. In 89, he transferred up to J24s, and 90 to 92 was the captain of the San Francisco fleet. In 99, he started sailing Melgus 24s. That boat was introduced as a Wednesday yachting luncheon when Buddy and I sailed boats out in the turning basin out here, and everybody who were luncheon guests were invited to come down in their, in those days, three-piece suits and brogues and go sailing in a Melgus 24. Well, hot ride, and so our speaker sailed those from 99 to 2000. And in the middle 2000s, from 04 to 09, moved up to Cal 40, and now crossed over in 2008 to the dark side because he now has a Grand Banks 32. We will not hold that against him. He puts it to great use. They tow us out to the win line on many Wednesday nights. We owe him so many trophies. My God, we wouldn't even get to the starting line, but for Dave and his team. And he's basically part, and going to talk a little bit about swimming, but he's part of a whole team who's here at this table. And the leader of their team, the completely infamous Vito Biala. Would you stand up, Vito? Introduce your team. Your speaker's gonna get to talk. Vito, introduce the guys from the team here.
Well, we got Scott Steitler, who's co-founder with John Matthews, who passed away.
Yep.
Dave Holscher. And those are the.
He can swim. This guy can swim.
He knows how to swim a little bit, but he wears fins.
Perfect. Okay.
Other members scattered throughout. Matt Davey is, you were one of the original five. We did English.
Vito's a great MC, if you see.
I was talking about the co-founders, like, boom, boom, boom. So
Okay.
Matt was the last guy I met at the Olympic Club, and somebody said, you should ask this guy to join the team. And I said, does he know how to swim? And the guy says, yeah. That's the swimmer in the Bay Area.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great, thank you, Vito. So let's see. Our speaker today basically swims about 300 days a year. And the longest distance he's swum, darn it, is only 22 miles. So I'm not sure if he's really worthy of a big applause. What the heck? Let's hear it for Dave Holscher, our speaker today. David.
Thank you very much, Ron. That made me look good, and that's rare. Night trained swimmers. It's my family. It's been a huge passion. It's now 10 years old, which is somewhat amazing. And the reason I want to combine the two is I would have never, ever, ever swam Catalina if I was not a night trained swimmer. And starting with that, this is what you look like after swimming 12 hours and 31 minutes. Oh. This is what you look like. when you swim 12 hours and 31 minutes from Catalina to the mainland. I was delusional, I was happy, and my body kind of fell apart. I was shaking, and I didn't really honestly know exactly where I was. But it came back very quickly. So this is right after the swim, and on the last picture, 20 minutes later, I'm a smiling person. This is just another picture showing how beautiful I felt. That's my lovely wife who was consoling me after my swim. It's a great image, and that's Matt Sessions in the right corner. Oh my God. This picture brings so much to me. This is the first picture we had before we swam 8 years ago, the relay, to England. The founding members we've all introduced, but it's Vito Biala, John Matthews, myself, Scott Styler, and Matt Davies. We all had names apropos to the English Channel swim other than John Matthews, who called himself lucky because he considered himself the most lucky person in the world. I was called tobacco, not because I smoked, or flying gulls, because they were Indians who came from America and showed the English how you swim freestyle. The first person who swam the English Channel took 21 hours and did it with breaststroke. So kind of an interesting but true part of history. We enjoyed the swim so much we wrote a book, so creatively titled The Relay. We could have worked on that. But we each wrote a part of just how personal the experience was, the beauty of it, and the importance of just how we became a team. Here we are. This is before we left. We had a beautiful party before I left for the big swim. I mean, this again, it's family, it's beauty. Now this picture is very important. If you look over, oh geez, there's a girl with a little red, that's my youngest daughter I'm holding, Elsa, and right to the left is my daughter in which I swam Straits of Gibraltar with. This is 10 years ago, and this is kind of the beginning of the true family. Here we are in lovely Dover, England. It will never be on any 100 place that you want to go to. It's probably on 100 place you truly want to avoid. It's like the beach is rocks. As you can see in this picture, just getting out of the place is nasty. It's rough, it's gray, and people didn't really appreciate us much there. Next picture, this is us. This is just a picture of Dover Harbor. We had 5 days of staring of exactly this, which is 30 knots of wind and gray and gray and gray. This is John Matthews on the left showing how windy it is, and that was day 5. It just kept going and going. And we have a big opening for a swim. We had like 8 days to swim, and we had the luck to swim on the 8th day. Now this is our headquarters. It's the world headquarters of the bar, and it's called the White Horse, but more importantly, it's the English Channel Swimming Bar. It's a beautiful place, and we spent a lot of moments there. Now, I got to put this picture in perspective. This is day 6, Dover. There's nothing to do in this town. And look at the smiles. I mean, this is honestly, this is kind of showing, this is day 6. We truly enjoyed each other's company. We lied to each other profusely. And we made up a lot of stories on what we're going to do next. Okay, this is continuing on just the elegance of Dover. This Viking Princess is an 80-foot trawling fishing boat. When you got to rest, Matt will remember this, you get to go to the front fish hold to go and rest. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. So this is the beginning of the swim. John Matthews, he swam beautifully. It took us 12 hours. It's over there too. It took us 12 hours, 5 minutes, and 43 seconds. The 5 minutes and 43 seconds becomes vitally important in this talk. You will see why. This is my exchange. I just swam my last hour swim, and before I got to start the swim, I had a guy chain smoking cigarettes yelling to me, "You gotta go fast, you gotta go fast, you gotta go fast, or the tide's gonna change and you're not gonna make it." And so I proceeded to swim 150 yards perpendicular to the boat, and everybody was screaming at me, "You're going the wrong way." I realized that, and I continued on. And this is Vito digging deep. I'm going to tell a story, but I'm going to skip it on this one. So this is our poetic slide of Vito digging deep. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. He swam for 5 minutes, 43 seconds. And there it is, lovely France, far more beautiful than the other side. And then this is Vito. He's a dot, unfortunately, in this picture, but he's giving a little christening to France. Picked up a few rocks, and awkwardly came back. But this next picture shows how deep he dug. There we go. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Picture of Grace. So here we are. We finished the swim. We were supposed to, this is a kind of part of the night train tradition that I'll reiterate throughout the lecture. We were supposed to go there and back. Matt Davies made it relatively clear when he jumped in during his third and therefore final leg that we were not going to turn around. He used words that I will not and cannot describe in public. And there's our bar, and why it's the English Channel bar is you get to write, how you did swim, the timing, so that's all over the bar. It's just your time and the swim. And here's John Matthews writing his name in. And again, September 8th, 2008, it's basically been 10 years. And that's that. There it is. So we did it again in 2014. Again, we're supposed to have John Matthews with us. He couldn't make it. It was a little bit empty. We went a little faster, a little stronger. We've been doing more open water swimming. Here we go. And we're just going to kind of move on. England looks, this is France again. It looks very much nicer than England. It really does. You're there, you feel good. So here's a picture of my good friend John Matthews and myself. This is a picture of Jaws when we went out for the ceremony. We had 12 boats, and what's kind of unique about this is we had a swim in. We went out to Point Bonita, and we all do it what Night Train does best. We jump in the water. And it was probably one of the highest spiritual moments of my life. And look closely at this picture. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. Switching subjects quickly, on a much lighter side, the historical importance of night train is really the combination of swimming and boating. We are truly the first people in the world to just say, let's go out the Golden Gate Bridge, turn left, and see if we can make Santa Barbara. We attempted that. We didn't make it. So the combination really is kind of why I'm proud to speak here in a yacht club. It's really a combination of boating and swimming and crazy people. And what I have to thank is Vito. I mean, Vito is the impetus. He had the boat. Thank you. And he's a great captain. And I think between us, we definitely came up with some crazy ideas. And some of the swims, I'm just going to go over some of our classic swims. We've done these like hundreds of times. Now, maybe not hundreds, but numerous times. This is Point Bonita. This is just... I'll get it. Okay. Okay, you'll get it. This is just a swim with like our team, Point Bonita, into basically Sausalito. We all swim as a team, so you get to go circles if you're fast, and if you're slow, you wear fins. But what kind of teaches us, hey, one fin, I saw that, it's the beauty of just kind of being in the ocean and touching it, and it's just fantastic. Here's us coming in, and here's kind of interesting. This is after 2 hours and swimming in cold water, a little rough. We're all happy. We truly do love the ocean. This is just a typical Wednesday night swim, and this is kind of where we all started. We started on Wednesday nights. Ron Towboat is us because we go out every Wednesday and swim, and Ron sails. We get colder. And these are just pictures of us as a team. And it's a spiritual beauty of connecting to the bay. All right, here we go. The next aspect of, oh, whoa.
You clicked something back. Keep going back.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Next aspect that we're very famous for is the Fairlawns. Again, it's a special, special place. Other than my family, I have more pictures of the Fairlawn Islands than anything else. Remember that. So I'm going to go through my collection very quickly. These are good pictures. And as you can see, it's mystical, it's magical, it's not made for human beings, it's really made for nature. Again, just this is a special place in our hearts.
Say again where it is.
Fairlawn Islands.
Which is where?
30 miles off.
30, it's 28 miles from the Golden Gate Bridge.
I never ask questions I don't know the answer to. Worldwide audience. So.
Oh, excuse me. And this is a picture of my daughter. And we went out there on a very special day, on her 9th birthday, and the sea was as smooth as silk. And in fact, she jumped in the water to celebrate her birthday. Yeah, and notice the pink night train cap. That's classic. And the same day, this is hard to show, but a group of 6 of us swam around an island called Chocolate Chip, I guess. This name could be made up. I don't even know if the island truly has a name. It's the top left island. And I think that was the happiest I've seen Vito and myself. It just the whole day was absolutely spectacular. There we are to celebrate going around an island with sharks in the Fairlawns. And as you can see in the smiles, we all enjoyed it. And then we're going to go over some swims that we did going from the Fairlawn Islands. And researching it, it's not a common occupation. In fact, a total of 30 people have been involved in the endeavors of a successful either single swim or a relay swim. And as you can see here, the conditions are rarely good. And I think that's probably why, A, you don't want to swim it during shark season, and B, it's a tough, tough body of water. So that's my watch. And we did a relay. We had 4 attempts to finally do a relay on our first time to get out there as a swim. And our first 3 were in, and it was during the year 2015. There was so much ebb we could never get in, so we turned around finally and went out. We went from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Fairlawn Islands. And I remember this one moment. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture, but I remember John Matthews I'll show you a picture of taking it in the head like that, turned around, did a full circle, and at the same time his hand went like this. And I just going, this is a beautiful day. And it was. And so that's our poetry. There's Kim Chambers, who ended up swimming. She actually from the Fairlawn Islands in. There's a great movie about her. We'll go over that in a little while. Closer picture. And here's a picture that I lost my top cap. It was so rough, and you're allowed to wear neoprene in the channel, and it was as you can see in this picture, not a typical swimming picture. Just if you look at that closely, that's not how you envision swimming. This is me coming in, and I had the luck of the draw that I got to touch the buoy at the Fairlawn Islands. And I'll be honest with you, I really did want to touch and go. And it wasn't just because the sun was setting, it was the actual noise that was going on. And I remember that so distinctly. The seals, the sea lions, and the birds were very loud. And I go, this is a different place. So I touched and got quickly on the boat and shook for about an hour and a half to 2 hours because the water was a toasty 47 degrees. And so that kind of, this is me at the end, and I look happy, kind of. Little bit? No, I was hurting. I was hurting. Just more pictures of swimmers coming in. So this is a picture of Simon Dominguez. This is going to go quick. He also has an absolutely beautiful movie about his swim. He wanted to go, though we did try to talk him out of it, the other way, which is the way from the bridge to Fairlawn Islands. He's well painted. He's ready to go. And this is the reality. We saw a shark fin, and Simon had to get out. And he had probably one of the most epic, heartfelt efforts in swimming I've ever seen. It took our hearts away. And when we had to pull him, we were done. This is a picture of Kim Chambers going the other way, coming back from that. She's the first woman and third person actually to swim underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. 5 people have made it to the mainland. And again, there's a beautiful movie called Kim Swims that I highly recommend everybody see concerning this movie. But at this moment, it was heart-wrenching. She made it, and Vito and I, you always have side stories. Vito and I were sitting in the Dolphin Club 2 days before, going, should we do this? And I go, she's trained so much. And the weather was seriously 50-50. And I was going, we got to unleash this. And we go, like, we're unleashing it. And the day turned out much, much better than we anticipated the weather was. So sometimes there's little blessings that happen, and she made it. But nature, especially in swimming, is unbelievably strong. Okay, next kind of event. These next 2 pictures or slide pieces are of like swims that kind of really influenced me on why I picked Catalina. This group here, we set a world record of swimming from, that's Goleta in the background here, and we swam to basically San Diego Yacht Club. We went through and in. And
What's the distance?
228 miles. It was written on our bathing suits for some strange reason. So this is Gracie Vanderbilt swimming. Other than Matt Davies, she's probably one of the most gifted, if not the most gifted, open water swimmers in the world. If you see her, she's just, if you look back, she's the blonde woman on the bottom. You don't see much, but absolutely an amazing athlete. I mean, she's faster, harder, stronger. She crewed me on the Catalina swim, and I'll go over that later. But an absolute inspiration for all swimmers. And we were going to, again, this was a David Dumb idea, we were going to go outside all the islands and have a straight shot to San Diego. And they had gale warnings outside, so we got to use an oil derrick to turn left, which ended up to be a very smart move. And this is Phil Cuddy, and this water, I mean, the thing about the water has kind of personalities. I mean, that's kind of a strange truth of swimming. And Southern California, there was a time that we had albacore tuna 400 feet below me, and I could see them almost perfectly. It was stunning. And this is Patrick Horn, and if you see the conditions, perfect. That's a dream. And here's our designer bathing suits at the finish. Those are nice. We're well done. All right. Swimming with Hannah. This was probably the most unique event I've ever done in my life. And my daughter came up to me going, and this is searching the internet, which is dangerous. She asked me, can we swim the Straits of Gibraltar together? And I said, hell yes. And, it's a trip. You can see it was a great trip. And what could go wrong with swimming 11 miles with a 16-year-old daughter? Yeah, nothing, right? And I asked her last week, why did you want to do it? And not a typical 16-year-old girl really wants to go swim the Straits of Gibraltar. And she said, I think I could do it, and it would be interesting to get out of my comfort zone. And I think that's kind of a night train, part of night train. It's we get out of our comfort zone. We see things a little differently. We try, and we fail a lot, but we try just interesting things. So we trained, and we trained, and we trained. I think the most beautiful part was training with her. We set up a strict schedule, and we stuck with it. This is right when sun rises, and I didn't sleep a wink, not a single wink. This is the Straits of Gibraltar. This is from Tarifa to Morocco. And I was pretty panicked, to be honest with you. And this is looking at Tarifa. Absolutely, we were the luckiest people in the world. It was smooth as glass. This is us just looking out. We're both on the boat preparing to go. Here's us touching Tarifa. And at this point, the water is relatively cold. And again, I had a dad panic moment, of course. And then the world really changed.
How cold was it, Dave?
It was probably about, at the start, 64 degrees. It got much warmer. It got probably about to 68 in the middle and got back down to about 64 at the end. And we're off. And as you can see, the conditions were spectacular. I don't think, and there's something was above us on that day. Now this picture is, now those are dolphins. We had a super pod of dolphins swim underneath us halfway through. And it was just amazing. Here we are as a team, and we just swam side by side, and she never said a word or complained until near the end, and it was kind of our fault. They switched flags on the boat halfway, which I think is very poetic. And we're smelling Africa, and it looks like Africa. And it's just, my heart was just like, I think we got this one. Getting closer, we touched. I love this picture here. I mean, there was sheer ecstasy here. Now this is my favorite, almost my favorite 3 slides. Watch this. Okay, smile. 20 seconds later, smile with sister. This is literally 20 seconds. We're done. We are done. So this was a picture they took for the newspaper. Note the beautiful St. Francis Yacht Club cap and the American flag cap. Well placed. Here's the article they wrote, and we set 2 records. We were the first father-daughter to ever do the swim, and my daughter Hannah was the youngest American swimmer ever to complete the swim. And unlike Dover, we had 7 extra days to enjoy ourselves, so I have to show the cheesy camel picture. And to be honest with you, Tarifa is a beautiful place to visit. All right, now to the final piece, my Catalina swim. These are my training partners. The beauty of trying an event like this is you need help. We're all a big team. All 3 of us ended up swimming Catalina within the same month. We knew it. We planned it that way. It's myself, Luca Pozzi, who does look Italian, and Andrew Wynn. I did not have the ability or chance to go on Luca's swim just because it was closer to mine, but I went on Andrew's. And what this is about is kind of the luck in a way. So this is us going out. And yes, it is exactly what it looks like. It's blowing about 35 knots. It's pitch black. And, okay, here's a picture of our crew, not that important. Andrew is deathly sick. I mean, that's making his green not look so green. So we had a discussion, either go back or jump in. And he's a tough guy. He jumped in. And about hour 7, he started, because he wasn't feeling that way. This is where's the mental part of the sport. He turned over on his back, just stretched and did a minute, and he decided right then and there he was going to finish the race. He put his head right back down, swam 5 more hours, never moved again, and made it. So this is me, I was his last 3 hours. I kayaked him in. He looks pretty good, actually, for the end of the swim, and he did it in 11 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, beautiful. So this is me, again, right after my swim, not looking great. And I'll show you the 10 minutes later. But what I want to go back to is the next picture. Again, this is Night Train. This is the team. I think you've seen all these people in some of the pictures, and I want to thank them here now. You know, and I've skipped a lot of pages, excuse me. So first of all, my wife, Phoebe, and the all-important lifeguard, Vito. He even wore a shirt to make sure we knew he was a lifeguard. I thought that was important. We were wondering about that. And then there's Gracie Vanderbilt, who was right next to me, who kayaked the entire 12 and a half hours next to me and was an emotional guide. Andrew, Ashley, Matt, and Paige all swam with me, and it made everything. We are a team. I swam it with a lot of people. I'm the only one who swam it, but without them, it would have been nothing. And again, I thank you very much. And I don't know if you know this, but the rules are pretty straightforward. You get cap, goggles, and a bathing suit. And another odd part about the sport is you bring a lot of crap. And the hardest part of open water swimming, and one of the main ones that people really don't know about, is you got to eat. And it sounds strange, but eating while swimming is very difficult. Your stomach doesn't really appreciate it so much. So this is just Carbo Pro and all these other things that I get to eat every half hour. And to be honest with you, to make the long distance, you got to stay eating, and your stomach has to stay with you. A lot of failures from that. So this is me about 10 minutes before I jumped in. Yep, I'm scared. That's the look. This is a picture Vito took, and I'm going to go very quickly and get rid of it. This is the start. And the beauty of this is you're starting at midnight, and it looks just that beautiful. It's pitch black. You don't see a thing, and you're off. And this is probably the prettiest sunrise I've ever seen in my life. I wanted this sunrise more than I wanted anything else in the world. When that came up, your body almost feels the sun. It does. It feels the sun on your back, and you're going like, I can make this. And I remember I had a moment before this that I was a little frustrated. And as my team remembered, I went a little AWOL. I swam a wrong direction for a while because Gracie told me, you swam 823 yards. And I said, in what time period? And she goes, in a half hour. And I look around going, shit. Because you do the math, backtrack, and what happens, it's near the end of the season, there was some really bad current. And so I was stuck with that. So mentally I had to wrap around that my time was going to be a lot longer than I expected. I was halfway in 4 hours and 40 minutes, but things change. Nature throws curves at you. And I had to absorb that for a while. I went AWOL, but I came back. About an hour later, we started having beautiful conditions. And it just, at this point, I had about 5 miles to go, and I knew it. I never questioned it, and I just going, I have 5 miles to go. I'm kind of going to enjoy this. I wasn't going very fast. I wasn't going slow. I was just swimming and just being part of Catalina. So here's the finish, and it's right near the Trump Hotel. Not done by choice, obviously, but that's where the that's where the rocks are, and we came in. Here's the same pictures before, and then I'm going to end with this picture. And I have something that was written about us in the San Francisco Chronicle concerning our first Fairlawn swim. And this kind of, I think, sums up kind of what we do. It's about 30 miles from the Golden Gate to the Fairlawn Islands, a span where swimmers fear to tread. Water temperatures can dip below 50 degrees, the tide can be tough, and the winds can be tougher. It's the kind of trip that's best left to animals with dorsal fins. Now, this is my favorite sentence. Yet 6 fairly normal people have conquered the bridge to Fairlawn swim and lived to crow about it. As far as anybody knows, Friday's swim was the first time the feat has ever been accomplished. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Great. Welcome once more to the Wednesday Yachting Luncheon, live from St. Francis Yacht Club. Our speaker today is Dave Holscher, president of Night Train Swimmers. Holy moly, Dave, great show. Thank you so much. Great to see you. No wetsuits. Talk about no wetsuits.
It's really not part of the sport. It just never has been, never will be. It's about having all the aspects of nature be part of the swim, and nobody wears them. And it's called open water for that reason.
What's the scariest moment you've had swimming?
Oh, that's a good one, but it's a very honest one. We had our failed attempt when we left from here to go down to Santa Barbara, and Mavericks was breaking, and it was about 25 to 30-foot swells. And I remember, I don't really mind swimming from midnight to 1, but I was deathly worried about getting back on the boat. That's all I cared about, because we were going up and down and up and down. And I didn't really care about the 59 minutes. I cared about the last minute to get back on. And I really was worried that I am not going to get back on the boat. I got back on, obviously, and it worked out just fine.
So talk about swimming in waves. And first, what's the biggest waves you've swam in? How tall?
I really don't have any idea. I mean, they're big, and we don't. It's not like surfing that you can see and quantify a face. We've been in, I would say, 30-foot swells, but since they don't break, it's swells, and so it's just part of the swim.
And talk a little bit about the challenges of waves. What's the challenge as a swimmer's view, from the swimmer's view?
Well, it's just to get your stroke correct. The challenge is when you're going through waves and moving, your body is always rotating, move all the way around, and there's times that you start counting, like, I can't breathe 1, I can't breathe 2, I can't breathe 3. Then you switch to breaststroke, pop up, and go. So it's basically, if a wave's breaking on you, you can't breathe. So it's just timing of your swimming and the breath.
And what are the challenges of swimming in big wind?
Same thing. It's very easy to swim in calm water because you're basically swimming in a pool, so you know how to have your body adjust. It's just adjusting your body to breathing and keeping yourself going forward instead of just flailing.
And what's the longest period of time that you've got in the water without getting out for a relay or something and continued to swim? What length of time?
Well, just Catalina is my longest swim.
And that was 12 hours?
12 hours, 31 minutes and change.
Unbelievable. 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 I'm going to keep asking questions, but if I see a hand up, John will bring you the mic, and we're happy to take questions from the crowd. And I want to once again thank the incredible coach for this team and one of the captains, Vito Biala. Vito, great job, man. Always keeping the guys going. Just terrific. Question over here, Matt Brooks.
Well, incredible achievements. I mean, I'm very impressed. I was in Hawaii a few years ago, though, and at the airport I saw that there's ocean swimming in Hawaii, where they swim the entire length of the chain of islands. Is that a future challenge?
The entire length?
Yes.
No, the Molokai Channel is a very common swim. I mean, that's one of the Ocean Sevens, and I think that's about 26 miles. That could be a challenge, but not the entire length.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do you... yes, another question. Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah, what was the
Wait, bring the mic over. Thank you, Freddie.
Yeah, what was the water temperature on your Catalina swim? And also, have you ever thought about a Lake Tahoe swim?
So the question was water temperature in Catalina, and have you thought about Tahoe?
It varied from about 68 to 65, and I'd love to do Tahoe someday. It's a beautiful swim, yeah, in either direction.
What's your body temperature like when you're swimming?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, you just get in a balance. You might get down to, you get cold, but you just swim. Simon taught me this. Even though you're cold, you can still swim. And then,
So what temperature will you drop down to?
I have no idea. I haven't tested. I would assume it's 98, 99. I don't think it's that deep. It doesn't go down that fast.
I have to ask the inevitable question about sea critters, sharks, and a special question about the rogue sea lions in Aquatic Park. Is that one sea lion, one angry sea lion, or how's that working out?
Both are very, very good questions, and I think we probably spent 30 hours discussing those in at least the last few months. The animals are always there, and we're not part of their ecosystem, and we don't swim during the more drastic months of September to December in the Fairlawns. That sea lion, we have no idea. We assumed it was probably a sick one. I mean, and it's gone, we hope. It's been 6-7 weeks since it bit somebody last time. We've had a lot of swims that went right over there. I've gone to that spot like 4 or 5 times since, and nothing's happened. But again, this is all conjecture.
So in these, what's the danger with sharks? Would you get out of the water right away when you see a shark? What do you do when you see sharks?
Yeah, we typically, if we see a shark fin coming towards us and we have the ability to get out of the way, we will.
How often do swimmers get bit by sharks?
That's a great question. Depends where you're at. It's, you always hear every story you're going to hear, it's going to make the newspaper, but I'd say it's probably 1 in a million. I mean, by the time, and we've put a lot of miles in, we've seen shark fins, and we haven't been bitten yet.
Julia, do we have a question on the web?
Actually, it's just a comment, because Jack Everett is watching from Barbados.
Wonderful.
And he sends greetings to Dave, with whom he sailed in the Pac Cup in 2016. And also hi to Vito.
Great. So when it hurts, where does it hurt?
The easy answer is everywhere. The honest answer is your mind. Your mind hurts. Your mind wants out. And that's the truth. I mean, it's kind of a natural protection. Your mind says, I can get out of here. Why am I doing this? And then you just kind of override your mind going like, I'm going to keep going. So it's really a mind.
Keep your hand up when I see the mic get to you, then I'll go for your question. Yes, Lynn.
Yes, I wanted to ask about Florence Chadwick. I don't know if you all know who she was, but she was the first woman to swim the English Channel. And I was a little kid at the time watching on a little tiny TV at home where I grew up in Long Beach. And I can remember that she put black, thick grease all over her body to protect it. And I just wondered, I think she was the first woman to ever do that. Is that correct?
She was the first woman, yes, to swim the English Channel. She also did it in one of the fastest times ever. And I read something a couple of years ago about her. She was slightly deaf, and they had a huge ticker tape parade in New York when she made it, and she kind of just disappeared after that. But she was, and they wrote something about her, how happy she was that what she did was accepted and honored.
Well, I was amazed as a young child. Well, I wasn't that young. I was probably 12 or something. I don't know. But it was quite impressive. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. No, it was. It was an amazing deal. It was
and
huge.
I'm very impressed with all of you. It's quite an accomplishment, especially with your daughter. That got me in tears.
Thank you.
We're speaking today at the Wednesday Yachting Luncheon with Dave Holscher, president of Night Train Swimming. So, Dave, when we're talking about swimming these courses, how fast are you going through the water?
Well, the typical speed we always talk about is 2 miles per hour, and that is kind of our standard swimming pace. You can get a little faster, and you can get a lot slower. So that's kind of what we try to aim for. When we did the 228-mile swim, we did in exactly 100 hours. But we had some wicked quick swimmers. So that's a real 2 miles an hour. So we're not going very fast. So nature plays a very, very big part of it.
And what's the longest relay distance that you've been a part of?
Well, we did a 300-mile relay through the bay here, and then the other 228-mile relay from.
300-mile.
Yeah. So we just.
How many swimmers?
6. We just zigged and zagged the bay until we were blue in the face.
What was your relay technique? 1 hour on, 1 hour?
It's 1 hour on, 5 hours off. There's 6 of us, very standard number, and so the longest is 300.
Yes.
This is just amazing, and I'm always amazed by what David does. But I just wanted to also ask if you could speak a little bit about the night train swimmers and how many people have benefited outside the swimmers by what Night Train has done in raising money for the swims.
Great question.
Great, Ken. Thank you very much, Petey. I took that out of my swim because I wanted to kind of be a lecture about swimming, but all the swims you saw were raising money for all sorts of different and various nonprofits. And so part of us is like 50% fundraising and then swimming too. And I took the fundraising out just because I want to talk about swimming. But we've raised about $1.5 million, and
Bravo.
And so that's the other part of it. So we're swimmers, and we try to raise money for great causes.
Hey, David.
Yes, Simon.
Simon here. Thank you for your talk today. It was, I've been part of some of it and seen a lot of it, and it was really nice to see you talk about, some of the things that we and you have done. Just a question on the really long swims, on the 2 relay swims you did. How hard is it? Obviously it's very hard when you're swimming, but how hard is it when you're not swimming? Because you're awake for a long time, you're working really hard. Can you tell us a bit what it's like on the boat in between your swims?
Sure. You actually get in a really good rhythm, to be honest with you, because you're swimming 4 hours a day, and you have, by the time you dry off and eat, you have 4 hours. So you read a book or do something, rest for a couple hours. So the time of the day is absolutely unimportant. So you just go through a 6-hour cycle of basically swimming, eating, warming up, resting, and so the time doesn't make any difference. You just keep going and going. At a certain point, you actually get stronger because your body finally gets used to 2 hours of sleep 3 times. It's kind of like a sailboat race when you have shifts. It's the same thing. By day 4, you're going, I can keep doing this. Your body adapts.
So, one other question too. How do you establish records? Who are the people who establish records for you?
Well, there's governing agencies out there that do that for us, and so they're established that way. Steve Munitonis is a big part of that, and he kind of quantifies everything and makes it official.
And so when you're out there and you're grueling and swimming, do you have any mantras you use? What do you think about? Where do you send your mind?
It's all over the place. A lot of times it sounds strange, but what you're going to eat next and kind of just enjoying it. To be honest with you, I'm out there to be out there. I'm not out there to think about the stock market or anything like that. I'm out there to be part of the ocean, and that's why I actually do the sport.
Question over here.
Yes, my question is about pilots, how important pilots are. So I'm sitting next to Vito, pilot number 1, but you were with Reg Brickell in the English Channel, and I think it was Neil Streeter, Alison Streeter's brother, if I have the names right, famous English Channel family. So what's it like being next to a pilot? What role does that play?
Well, it's all kind of part of the same game because I'm the navigator for Vito. It's like the key of a pilot is when you start, what course you choose, and if it matches up to your swimming ability. I mean, a perfect example is we had a gentleman who called me up and said he can swim a minute 10 hundreds and did 70 in a row, et cetera, and he swam from the Fairlawn Islands, and Vito and I realized in about 12 minutes he's not going to make it to the Golden Gate Bridge, and he ended up finishing in Muir Beach because we weren't in sync. So you have to be in sync with your timing and what your actual swim speed is, and if that works together like it did with Kim, you have a beautiful swim. If not, you miss, and it's that simple.
What's your caloric output? If you're going to swim 12 hours, what was your caloric output?
A lot of calories.
Like 5,000, 6,000?
I can't quantify that. I was hungry afterwards, and in fact, to be honest with you, not that it's a little bit disgusting, but I felt really great right after I projectile puked when I got off the boat. my body felt like thank you, thank you, thank you, and the smiles came. So it's I have no idea. But
We skipped those slides?
it was like, it was a lot like, yeah. When Matt Davies decided to give a few words why he wasn't going to do the next leg, they don't need to be here. Polish it a little bit.
Another question?
Not a question,
Vito.
just a comment. Can't escape me. I have to add a couple of things. There's a lot of sailors here, a lot of swimmers here, but to put it into sailors' perspective, Dave Holscher is a very unusual person. He's got a mind of steel. He's got the tenacity of the best of the best. And if I had to compare him to somebody, I would say Tom Blackholler, Russ Silvestri, Craig Healy, Chris Perkins. He's the best of the best. So hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Vito. That was way too kind.
So that was Vito Biala, who is also a great sailor and a great swimmer and a coach of the team. Thank you, Vito. So talk about your relay technique. When you and I were sailing in a watch system, when you come up on deck, you get yourself oriented for the first hour or so if you're in a 3-hour system. What happens in your particular case if you're just about to go in the water? Talk about that phase. You're in the hour just before you go to water. Is there some different time? Do you sleep an hour after you come out? Talk about, let's say there's 5 people in a relay.
Yeah. So basically, you get out, you warm up and eat, and then you fall asleep. But I had, as Vito will know, I have a very long mentally get ready. It takes me, I get like an hour ready, get my goggles ready, get that, start eating food, and it's kind of like you get into the game. And so your eye gets in, and when you jump in, you're mentally ready to go do an hour. Because a lot of times you might not want to do it, especially when it's like 3 in the morning, pitch black, and everybody else is asleep, and nobody really cares. And so you really do have to have a little psychological, let's get this going.
When you're out, do you vary strokes? Do you start to get a cramp and go to a breaststroke or backstroke? What happens?
You try not to. I mean, to be honest with you, you just want to swim freestyle, and part of the mantra is put your head down and go. And that's all you want to do. As soon as you start popping up or talking or doing breaststroke, something's going wrong. And so you just put your head down and go. And it's really a very simple way to do it.
So what's next?
I really don't know. I'm trying to swim the English Channel in 2019, but I need a real spot. I've been working with a lot of the guides, and I can't do, or maybe I can, but I want to be in the middle of the bell curve. I want to swim between July and September, and a lot of the spots I'm being offered is June and October, and I don't think I can make that. So I'm looking for a spot in the English Channel.
Marge.
Do you wear a cap and goggles?
The question is, do you wear a swimming cap and goggles?
Yes, those are the 3 things you're allowed to wear. Is a swimming cap, it's just a normal cap, goggles, and a bathing suit. Yes.
So when you're in the water, talk about the difference between clear water and not clear water. Where's the clearest water? Does it make any difference to you?
Not at all. I mean, the beauty and the negative about swimming in the bay is you never see your hands. It's just that murky. And the beauty of swimming in Catalina is you can see 400 feet down, which is good and bad at the same time, because when things pass by that are dark a little bit below you, your mind wanders. And so in the bay, until it hits you, you're good to go. So I don't...
So what do you eat in these relays? If you're at a 6-person relay, what do you eat during your dinner time?
Oh, anything. I mean, it's one of the things is like Michael Phelps, he ate, potato chips, that and the other thing. But I really like just, it sounds strange, but turkey and hummus and nuts. And I can eat that for days. And that's a lot of times what I eat. But it changes. You just need calories. It's a simple mathematical equation. Calories, good calories in, keeps you going. So you just want good calories.
Does venue make any difference? Are there places that are prettier? Does that affect you, or you're so close to the water that you don't think about that?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, Tarifa, Spain was a dream. Dover is a reliving nightmare. I mean, it just is. I mean, we had kids with sticks chase us and the whole 9 yards. It's just a strange place. Tarifa was magical. I mean, we went to this bar every night at 5 o'clock. We're the only ones there, by the way, because we're Americans and they really open at 2 p.m. and we're there at 5. But it makes a huge difference. In the sun, in all honesty, one of the beautiful parts about open water swimming is the sun. When the sun is on your back, you feel so much better.
What's the coldest water you've swam in and the hottest?
The coldest was definitely the 47 degrees in my last legs of the Fairlawn swims. It was my third leg of the day, and the whole thing is controlling my teeth chattering during that one, so it kind of kicked in pretty early, and I was going, damn it, I got a half hour of not chipping my teeth. And it went through just fine. And the warmest, I have no idea. I mean, warm is, you can get too warm, but I've never swam in too warm of water, so.
So, when you're really, 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 really tired, is there a visual image that you go to? Do you have a place, a sort of a safe place that you go to?
Oh, absolutely. And my safe place has been the same safe place for all my swims. I go surfing. I go right to surfing. I used to go to Fiji and surf this place that has perfect waves. So I go right into surfing those waves for two reasons. A, the water's really warm in Fiji. And B, it's just kind of, that's where I go when times get tough.
Dave, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Holscher. The Wednesday yachting luncheon is adjourned. Good on you, bud. Good on you.